Welcome to this video about the care act duties in relation to outcomes, needs, and care and support. Please note that we have other videos about this topic on the Sky website, alongside with many other resources and a handout that will support you embedding the learning for the video. Today with me is Paula, and my name is Carmen. We are going to explore what are needs in the context of the Care Act. So, Paula, what type of needs do social care practitioners come across in the performance of their duties?
So they come across presenting needs, and presenting needs are the ones that are recorded in terms of a referral document, for example, and these are the needs that will be explored during the assessment process. We also have assessed needs. And so those are the needs that, so, you know, we've identified the presenting needs at the point of referral. We will, as part of the assessment process, have a conversation with an individual where we will explore how those presenting needs, you know, potentially impacts on a person's ability to achieve their outcomes. And then we will have eligible needs, which are the needs that we put through the assess needs through the determination of eligibility to find out whether or not they are eligible needs.
So really, in a lot of occasions, I mean, in my experience as a social care practitioner, the presenting needs are not necessarily the assessed needs. So the presenting needs are the ones that are in the referral and could be more or less in depth, yeah? Sometimes are the ones that the individual put there themselves, could be the carer or the adult, could be a family member, could be a neighbor, could be another professional, but it's kind of what alert for there is a need for a response for social care. And then you are absolutely right. As a social care practitioners, what we need to do is look at that referral, look at those presenting needs, and then look at, okay, now we are during the assessment process and we need to consider, okay, what other needs are there, and identify all the 60 needs in around the 9 areas of well-being that the individual has. You mentioned also about the assessed needs that the individual has and how the impact to achieve the outcomes. That is important at a determination of eligibility point of view. At this point is how they prevent them to achieve their personal outcomes. So you said outcomes, but is one of the things we found, having we that practitioners use outcomes, and then it's difficult to know whether they personal outcomes or eligibility outcomes. So during the assessment, what we explore is how those needs impact the individual in achieving their personal outcomes. And we will explore in the video on outcomes, what is the difference between personal and eligibility outcomes. And then a third stage will be when we have an assessment and we identified all the needs, will be to look at, okay, which one of those meet the eligibility criteria, so that we are very clear which needs are eligible and which ones not. And if any of the needs are eligible, which needs are we dealing with in the support plan, and which those the local authority has the legal duty to provide support for. So that is one thing that is quite important, and we do find in a lot of occasions that people is not very clear about the difference between the presenting, the assess, and the eligible, and they come together, and that creates a lot of difficulty in actually complying with the law, isn't it? The other thing that is there any other thing that you think people mix up and get confused when they carrying out an assessment? Any other terms in relation to needs? What else are needs confused with?
I think that we often get confused between what we should understand needs to mean under the Care Act, in that it's a legal term and it's defined and shaped under the Care Act, against what an individual thinks that they need. But actually, from a social care practitioner's point of view, what the individual thinks they need are actually wishes, preferences, those sorts of things. And so we do have to have really difficult conversations with individuals around how we see things as needs being different to what they do. That doesn't mean that we're not going to listen to what their needs are and what they want, because we've got a duty to have regard to that in terms of promoting individual well-being, but we do need to be very clear that our understanding of needs is from within the structure of the Care Act.
It is also, and I'm thinking now about an example, how in layman terms, we sometimes said, I need this, yeah? And really what we mean is, I want this, I really would like this, yeah? Whereas, yes, you're absolutely correct, from social care practitioner point of view, need has a legal content, yeah? So when we are assessing needs or determining eligibility for needs, it is not only, we need first to define, are those needs or are those wishes or personal outcomes or aspirations, and it's not always easy, but the important thing, as you explore on the assessment video with June, is that we actually capture all that on the assessment. Yeah, so if the individual consider them needs, we can put the individual explain they need or express that he needs or she needs, and that's fine. But if we consider them personal outcomes and aspiration, in our professional input in the assessment has to say, in my professional explanation, based on all the evidence, those are not needs but personal outcomes. And making that differentiation during the assessment process enables us to determine eligibility appropriately, because the legal duty is to meet eligible needs and have regard to personal outcomes. So if we mix them in the assessment, we're not going to know what are we meeting and what are we having regard, isn't it? It's going to come all muddled up, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think as well, as social care practitioners as well, we need to be careful that we don't refer to somebody's presenting circumstances as needs, because we are not able to determine whether they are actually needs until we've done the determination of eligibility, which we can't do until we've done the assessment of need for care and support.
Yeah. So it is very important that we just don't talk about needs. We talk about whether they presenting, which is what the individual is presenting themselves with, whether they assess, which means we have identified them, and acknowledged them during the assessment process, or whether they are eligible, which means they meet the eligibility criteria. Okay, thank you very much, Paula. For listeners, please keep an eye on the website, because we have many of the videos, and complementing this one, we will be having one around different types of outcomes in the context of the Care Act, and one about care and support that will bring together the needs and the outcomes. Thank you, Paula.